describe his prince?
Well, he's a real prince with significant personal wealth at his disposal, in addition to an undisputed claim to the royal seat once vacated by his father.
Oh gosh, how smashing!
And he's definitely unmarried.
Of course. Well, we were all made to sign parchments confirming we were legally free to marry. And he's under 35?
Oh, Midland! Oh, I see!
Well, yes. So where was I? Wealthy, eligible, under 35, and by all accounts, mentally sound.
Let's hope we all meet the essential criteria.
The buzz I picked up in the makeup area was even more piquant. The consensus being that he's fit, healthy, and at the risk of being overly sensational, decent looking. Not to mention, very humble. You know, willing to please.
Oh, what I couldn't do with young, decent looking and willing to please.
I think I need to visit the little girl's room.
But that's okay. We'll fill you in when you get back.
Oh, no, it's gone again. How queer.
Oh, Frog, is everything all right?
No. What was this stick doing in the corridor? The producer nearly fell over it and broke his neck.
Oh, that's mine. I mean, I found it on the way here and it looked like good firewood. Sorry.
Hey, idiots! Get back here!
I think I'm being called. Front parts.
Firewood?
Old habits die hard now I'm living back with father. But it's not like I can go foraging in any of the best spots around the hall without finding Goldilocks dogging my tracks.
I keep spotting her skulking around my place too.
She was round my way so often, I had to set my henchman on her.
Oh, you have your own henchman?
You have to these days. There are so many scumbags about. This pair I found, just two unfortunates from the village, Hansel and Gretel. Very traumatic upbringing, apparently, which is sad, don't get me wrong. But it's nice to give them an edgy vibe when they're making home visits. Sling you in your own cooking pot soon as look at you. Blondie soon got the message.
Yes, but now she's hanging around in my neighbourhood.
And mine. She helps herself to anything that's not nailed down. She told me she was a freegan, whatever that is.
They claim to be attuned to nature, treading lightly on the ecosystem and all that. But with her, it seems to be mostly pilfering. Wait until your back is turned and then she's run over your breakfast.
I'm convinced she's stalking me. Whenever I go anywhere, well, there she is. It's unsettling.
Your wedding finery was the talk of the land. She hasn't been eyeing up that diamond ring of yours, has she?
I hope not. I keep it stuffed in my undies these days.
Well, I don't see why she can't just get herself a job.
Or at the very least, find herself a husband, wretched parasite.
Me again. Please be advised we are now back at T-30.
Do you mean we're on sooner?
No, later. We're up 10 from the T-20 position.
The last I recall, we were at T-25.
Yes, and with 5 minutes having elapsed since my T-25 notification, I should have been here notifying you of the T-20 milestone. But that was before the arising of the thing that arose to push us back up 10 to T-30.
Or T-28 by the time you finish explaining it to us.
Hang on, up 10 sounds like we're skipping forward.
Yes, that's because we're using standard countdown protocol. Hence, the numbers run backwards when indicating when we move forwards. When our schedule shifts backwards due to a delay, as it has now, then the number of minutes would naturally move forwards.
We knew show business was so technical.
Basically, we're another 10 minutes further off, but please do remain in a state of readiness as the situation is fluid.
What's happened?
A makeup crisis in the main dressing room caused by a heavy bout of perspiration.
That does sound horribly fluid.
Is everyone alright?
Medically, yes, but the unforeseen release of body moisture has triggered a serious structural failure in Mother G's base layer.
How utterly ghastly.
Yes, Lizzie is whipping up a second batch while Nadia chisels off the redundant crust. Things are especially tense. Especially for Nadia.
Oh, Nadia.
Oh, it's fine, she's Bulgarian.
That is no excuse for her to put up with abuse.
Yes, but so long as the abuse remains purely verbal, she does have the advantage of not being able to understand it.
It all sounds thoroughly toxic. What happened to your face anyway?
Mother threw a pot of tea at me last week. It was incredibly hot.
That's terrible behaviour.
In her defence, she did apologise straight away and say it was an accident.
How is that an accident?
Well, she'd been aiming at Nadia.
Goodness, these creative types, they can be rather highly strung.
The producer should know not to discuss contractual matters before a show. She's been getting incredibly frisky about her pin packet.
Don't tell me Mother G's having money troubles. Didn't that bird of hers make her the richest commoner in the kingdom?
Yes, but the eggs are only precious through novelty value. They only look gold due to some genetic defect. Not actually gold. Plus, one drug-fueled party too many has all but wiped out her fortune.
Drug-fueled?
Pot, coke, pills, smack. If you can snort it, shoot it, smoke it, stick it up a vein. She's tried getting off her nut on it. And now she's broke again.
Awful.
I agree. The price of recreational drugs these days is a scandal.
It's the poor woman's health I'm worried about. She must have been abusing noxious substances day and night to burn through that much money.
Yes, but she didn't cripple her finances by overspending on drugs.
How then?
By yielding to a bad case of the munchies one night and fricasseing the goose.
That kind of lifestyle choice really turns out well.
It certainly didn't for the goose.
On topic, Frog. I thought I asked you to bring me something more stimulating before I'm sent out for the great unwashed.
Yes, and I did explain to you, madam, that we aren't in the business of supplying or dispensing substances.
And I told you to improvise.
Which is why I brought you all coffee.
Oh, which was lovely.
Yes, thank you.
But when I came to try mine, it was sodding decaf.
Oh, my mistake. They must all have been decaf.
Naturally, the two simpletons can't tell the difference, but I certainly can. Let me spell something out for you, Frog. I've been brushing off curses, death threats, and poison spinning wheels since I was in my crib. My literal crib, that is. I'm not just trying to sound strict to seem more imposing.
Yes, I'm following. Do carry on.
Anyway, what I'm saying is, I'm a survivor, a fighter, a warrior, and if I think you're trying to deliberately sabotage my chances by depriving my system of caffeine, I will end you. Get it?
Fine. I'll get you a proper one.
I'm stepping out for a breath of fresh air. If that coffee is not waiting for me by the time we get to T-20, there will be consequences. Physical consequences.
Did she ask for sugar last time? Or is she sweet enough?
5 sugars!
Back in the take now.
Well, unless this mysterious prince has a penchant for Harridans, I think this is going to be a 2-horse race.
I'm sure one glance at you will settle it. You never lost your iconic look, you lucky thing.
If you say so. I found I can no longer fit my backside into my favourite dress, or my bust into my second favourite dress.
It's lucky we're not both sat here in sweatpants.
You could be right. In any case, our anonymous suitor doesn't get to see us. Well, not until he's made his choice anyway. We answer his questions from behind a screen.
Sounds rather fun.
As dating show formats go, it's refreshingly free of seediness and exploitation.
Yes. But it doesn't exactly play to my strengths. I'm sure I won't be able to think of anything witty to say. I never did have any ideas of my own.
Blessed are the humble.
Well, there's being humble, and then there's being a complete doormat. I agreed to go walking with this girl from the village the other day to look for woodland flowers, and before I know what's happening, she's ditched me in the middle of the forest. I nearly got eaten by this pet wolf that seems to follow her around. And she vanished with my favourite crimson riding coat. It's no worth much. But it was an anniversary present.
That's despicable. She should give that back.
I wouldn't mind, but what does she want with a riding cloak for? Wicked little minx, doesn't even own a horse. That's why she walks everywhere.
I wouldn't feel too bad. Frog was saying she was set upon by a girl and her wolf just the other day. She sounds like a blasted one-woman crime wave.
Perhaps we do all need henchmen.
But back to these questions. I'm not expecting anything too highbrow. Girlish charm might easily win the day.
If you don't mind me asking, whatever happened to your original prince?
Oh. Well, legally, he's dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And non-legally?
Non-legally, he's probably still dead, judging by the length of absence. Well, he set off on one of his wild adventures years ago and simply never returned.
These princes and their adventures, honestly, it's a wonder royal couples ever get around to having any children.
Quite. I could hardly insist on him cutting out his adventures after our nuptials. I mean, if he hadn't been off adventuring, well, he never would have stumbled upon the dwarf's cottage and saved my life in the first place. And with stepmother's murder warrant still in effect, I was completely reliant on my new family to keep me.
Did your stepmother still have that talking mirror?
Oh, God. That bloody thing. I wish I'd smashed to pieces the moment I set eyes on it.
But I heard it was magic.
Magic? It was mechanical, like a magic music box.
Are you sure?
Yes. This overly friendly young footman built it. He fashioned it to say, "You're the fairest in all the land," whenever you turned a little crank. He passed it to me ever so discreetly on my 18th birthday. Cocky scoundrel. I don't hold presumption with the serving class, but you gotta admire his creativity.
Our houseboy was full of presumption. He never made me anything. Just stood around leering and cracking lame jokes while I did all the chores. Except that time when stepmother refused to let me share the carriage to the ball. Then he decides he's going to carve me a wooden carriage, but not even from wood, from a pumpkin. Useless oaf.
How did you get to the ball then?
I had to walk. No wonder my shoes were falling to bits by the end of the night.
Anyway, when stepmother snatched the mirror, naturally she became the recipient of the flattery. Until the young footman broke into her room one day and programmed it to say I was the fairest in all the land, and no one in the castle could figure out how to change it back.
Now that's what I call chivalry.
Chivalry? That was a provocation for my death sentence. Mirror, mirror on the stand, who's the fairest in the land? Crank, crank, crank. The young top princess has top spot. She's steamy, dreamy, smoking hot. I mean, come on, that's quite annoying.
Yes, it is a little bit.
Anyway, my dear husband left one day and just never came back.
Oh, awful.
Yeah. Trouble was, his lot didn't want to admit he was gone, for obvious reasons.
Yes, because if he'd antagonised a witch, he might have been turned into a beast and been trapped in some house somewhere waiting for you to find him and turn him back with a kiss.
Yes, probably. But mostly because without an heir, it left me overly central to the royal power structure. I mean, when all I wanted to do was move on, resume my existence as a princess and a woman.
Well, of course you would.
So much resistance from my in-laws, I basically had to negotiate him into his grave, bargain away my position to have them declare him as dead. The man I'd loved all those years.
I'm so sorry for you. I mean, finding what one truly yearns for and keeping hold of it, well, it can be so very difficult.
Oh, you're really crying? Don't ruin your mascara over my silly tales. Oh, you poor thing. Come here. Oh, there. There. Gosh,
I'm sorry for excess moisture.
it's fine.
No, but I think I've splashed right down your
Third favourite dress?
bosoms.
It's been a while since anyone's apologised to me for that.
Please, do finish your story.
Oh, well, there isn't much more to say. In return for them certifying him as dead, I had to give up most of my claims to my lands, privileges and honours. Hence why I need a new prince.
You're an example to us all of perseverance, I mean. You deserve love and happiness and a good life.
Hark at me wittering on. I know you never had it easy either.
Well, even in the good times I was still only a baron's daughter. A simple girl really, with not much sense in her head and not much to contribute to the world. Does that really sound like royal material?
Sounds exactly like royal material.
He really was charming, you know, my prince. Amiable and generous. But heavens be praised, even I could tell the last thing his heart desired was a girl from the village, skipping about in the woods with Dandini in his tight trousers and his floppy hair, camper than a field of tents, the pair of them.
You were his cover story?
Yes. A minor noble with not much to say and even less to lose. I was his ideal consort, just until his mother passed away and he felt ready to express his true identity.
Or you?
Yeah, I went in with my eyes open. Anything was better than living with my abusive stepmother. But it really would be nice to find true love at last.
It's the least you deserve.
With mother dying so young and stepmother being so horrid, I just felt my second life with my prince should be doubly loving, to make up for the first being so cold. I just craved a little intimacy. I'm sorry. Oh.
What's up with Miss Mouse?
Oh, we were talking about our first marriages. Hers lacked intimacy.
Well, get yourself in shape, girl. Pluck your eyebrows. Give a fellow a little encouragement.
No, see, he was...
It's hardly surprising, is it? Can you see a wet lettuce like her? Vamping it up in the boudoir?
She has a certain innocent charm.
A man in his mid-30s is going to need a little more than innocent charm to work with. Can you picture her coaxing for even a semi-serviceable erection from this prince?
I'd sooner try not to.
I tell you, she couldn't do it.
Fine.
Not if you sent her in with a knob splint and a bag of vaginas.
Sweet baby bunting!
We love a fight.
And what happened to your marriage?
Annulled. Hubby couldn't handle the public interest, the press intrusion, the smear campaign. It broke him. His unspeakable mother hired a pack of lawyers to get the palace returned to the castle, and hubby moved away to a spiritual retreat. Permanently.
Poor chap.
Spineless arsehole.
But you were the golden couple. I mean, who would want to organise a smear campaign against you?
Who else? Rapunzel.
The girl who was locked in the tower.
Tower, another one of her fabrications. Tedious, attention-seeking fantasist. If you wanted to keep someone out of sight, you wouldn't stick them in a tower with a fat-ass window they could lean out of.
I suppose that does sound odd.
No. If you really wanted to keep someone out of sight, you'd lock them in a cellar, surely. Somewhere nondescript. Any old dump's got a cellar. Not a bloody tower.
Perhaps her captor just happened to have a tower.
Captor. There never was any captor. Who would want her anyway? What would be the point? Now, push her out of the tower? Sure, that makes sense.
Okay, but then what was the deal with the smear campaign?
Well, if you remember, I was poisoned as a teenager and fell into a coma, but I woke a week later and was nursed back to health. Now Rapunzel, she came from trash. Her father was kennel master to hubby's lot, and she'd grown up skivvying for them. But she shipped out as soon as I arrived. Felt rather overshadowed, I should imagine. Anyway, left to her own devices, she starts spreading this preposterous story about how the cold castle had fallen into this enchanted sleep for 100 years until a prince came along after a century had elapsed to jolt us all back to life.
Fanciful, certainly, but what harm does it do?
Well,
Coffee, as requested.
about time. That's better.
We're at T-20, BTW.
Fascinating. We're bonding. Get out. In fact, bring biscuits.
biscuits. Fine. Frog de palms.
Well, if my husband had been able to break through this 100-year enchantment, then technically he must have been born a century after me, thus making him young enough to be my great-great-grandson, which, once it's pointed out, does start to sound a bit creepy.
Yes, it does actually.
Anyway, Rapunzel starts going around the tavern spinning yarns for her supper, most of them about me. When she sees this creepy age gap story is getting some traction, she just keeps repeating it. And the more she repeats it, the more people believe it. Hubby's lot was squeamish about coming down hard on her. You don't dignify this sort of thing with a response in their day. But nowadays, anyone can spread any old kind of hogwash without a care as to whether it's true or not. And soon the media buzz was inescapable.
And your poor prince crumbled under the pressure.
Yes, even though I was the one being insulted.
Voila! Biscuits! T-minus 19.
You're always sniffling about in here. Just put them down and get out.
As you bid.
It was the C word that really seemed to stick. They started calling me cradle snatcher.
Other C words are available.
I said, get out!
Oh, and remind Stick Girl she needs to take her wedding rings off before you go out there. Mother G says it's bad enough you looking like returned goods without the receipts being on display.
Who are you calling returned goods?
Frog parts.
I'm surprised you didn't send Hansel and Gretel round to see her.
I did. I tracked her back to her hovel after a couple of months. She knows now that if I hear any more of her nonsense, kennel master's daughter or not, next time they won't just stop at her hair.
They lopped off her amazing hair.
Roughed her up, lopped it off. I keep it as a trophy. Makes a bloody good draft excluder. Anyway, the moral of the story is, try to hurt me with propaganda, and I will respond with something far more physical.
Surprised she'd risk vexing you in the first place. You do give off a certain aura of, malice.
Good. That's exactly the aura I was going for. And yet people will insist on crossing me. Get this. The other day, this village wench in a red hoodie comes running out of a cottage claiming a wolf has got in and cornered her granny.
Did you say wolf?
But when I peek in to help, is there a wolf? Is there a granny? No. Just some massive meathead with an axe demanding I take off my rings and necklace.
The kingdom is getting rougher and rougher. It really is.
Anyway, I can see this guy's as thick as custard. So I tell him there really is a wolf, and it's standing right behind him. And when he turns to look, smash his face into the wall.
Oh, gosh!
When Hoodie Girl sees me coming out with the massive axe, she runs fleeing off into the woods, screaming about how she's going to pay me back. Coward.
How dramatic.
Don't worry, I've got the henchmen on the case. They think they can track her back to her place using this trail of red fibres she left as she fled through the brambles. They've got a knack of following trails, apparently.
That's better. A good sniffle into a hanky does wonders.
Well, that gives you roughly 15 minutes to sit down and relax.
Talking about sitting down and relaxing, I never did have that wee. Oh, what a silly I am.
Look, let's not pretend either of us are facing any competition from the half-wit. I'm more interested in you. So what's your game plan? You're going to play it all innocent? Or give him the whole unvarnished backstory and hope he's into the kinky stuff?
I'm sorry.
I mean, you're brazen, and I certainly admire that.
I'm not sure I understand you.
Of all the classic era princesses, you were always the wild one.
Was I?
You dyed your hair jet black,
Oh, it's my natural colour.
painted your face all white,
That's my natural colour.
ran off in the woods, ready to take up with any rough trade that came along.
Rough trade.
Like a wood nymph going through a goth phase.
I was fleeing a death sentence.
Okay, but before your prince came along and you were married, I heard you were shacking up with other men, and not even noblemen. Grizzled-looking characters you'd met in the woods, all savage, and grizzled, and rugged.
Well, yes, but I wasn't dating them.
Just casual sex then.
No!
I heard There were 7 of them.
Oh, yes, there was 7. Well, you're making it sound so sordid. I mean, do people really think that I ran away from home and then started cohabitating with random men? 7 different guys, one after the other?
Yes, I believe that's the general perception.
Oh, it's wildly inaccurate. I mean, yes, there were 7. But for a start, I was living with all of them at the same time.
You are the queen of the slags.
And they weren't regular men anyway, they were dwarfs.
Hey, everyone's into something.
Sorry.
Dwarves. All of them.
Well, yes, I thought people knew that.
I've never met one dwarf in all my days, and here's you servicing an entire community with nothing but your winning smile
I wasn't servicing them.
and insatiable hunger for cock.
See, look, they rescued me. They took me in, like a family of 7, but they were all individuals.
One for every day of the week. Lucky you. Strip down number 4, you silly thing. It's Thursday, or had you forgotten?
No, see, one of them was happy,
No shit.
and another was grumpy,
Stands to reason.
and so on.
Did I hear right that one of them was a doctor?
Oh, he wasn't really a doctor, he just liked to be called Doc.
Pretending to be a doctor. A little bit of dress-up action, eh? I bet he knew his way around a physical examination.
T-minus
Get out!
passing. Front apart.
There's something about you, though, isn't there?
Sorry.
Something that draws in all the weirdos and perverts.
I do not draw in weirdos and perverts.
Oh, sweetie. Let me refer you to your backstory. When the dwarves found you, supposedly dead, what did they do? Try to contact the authorities? Use their natural skills to dig you a grave or knock up a headstone?
Well, no, see they,
Exactly. They slung your corpse into a coffin and stuck it outside the front of the house. A glass coffin, no less, where they could watch you decompose. Weirdos!
It was a display case. You know, so people could come and pay their respects.
Who was coming? You didn't know anyone. You were living there in hiding.
Okay, I don't know the end-of-life rituals for dwarves, okay?
And then quite by chance your future husband, the prince, just happens to come riding along.
Yes, and he was a good man. For all his flyiness, he was my true love and saviour.
And decides, to continue my thesis, that he simply cannot counterpass with a reverential nod of his head to the deceased. No, he needs to jump down off his horse after pulling his entire retinue to a halt, dismantle a coffin, and jam his lips up against the face of a dead girl.
Because his heart was so full of pity. I mean, a natural human emotion.
So exactly how far down your cold, dead gullet was Prince Pervert sticking his tongue?
Go to hell!
Finally she bites.
Is everything okay?
Yes, warming up nicely, thank you very much. And this contest must be a little bit of a come down for you, eh? The girl who snagged Prince Charming. Tell me, was he everything the perfect specimen they say he was?
Leave her alone.
Was he handsome? Flawless? Vigorous?
He had a very kind heart, but otherwise he was like any other man. He had his imperfections, but I loved him for them.
Details, Miss Mouse?
You don't have to tell her anything.
No, I like talking about him. He had wonderful sparkly eyes and lovely hair, but he also had a rather crooked chin and slightly buck teeth. He even had a limp.
A limp what?
T-minus.
Don't even think about butting in now. What parts? Tell me, did you ever walk in and find him, you know, rutting with other women? The shy kitchen maid? The buxom chambermaid? Did you walk in and find him pressed up against them? Skirts hitched as she gripped the edge of the vanity unit, squealing like a hog. Stop it!
What about you, anyway?
What about me?
Well, you were woken by a stranger's kiss, same as I was. Even without the age gap, it's non-consensual.
My prince wasn't a stranger. Match had been made years ago. When he heard I was at death's door, he felt obliged to come and sit in vigil.
And you just happened to wake up when he kissed you.
When the wonderful moment came to announce the glorious news that I'd awoken, the palace media secretary thought it would be a nice touch.
So he hadn't kissed you.
He'd probably kissed me at some point that week, if in fact at the very moment I came round he was next door stinking out the privy. What's the difference?
Who's using propaganda now? Bloody hypocrite. How about we retell that story when we talk to Mother G? How you were revived by the fetid fumes of Prince Poopnot.
You obviously didn't get the message about what happens to people who cross me.
My friends taught me to stand up to bullies. Let go!
I shan't.
Oh God, how are you so strong?
With my deranged godmother's threats hanging over me, my parents insisted I be drilled in hand-to-hand combat every day from the age of 3. Doesn't do much to dispel the paranoia, but it is good for the muscle tone.
Oh! Stop it, you're hurting her.
You do realise that the people they get to fill these seats are just a random assortment of plebs. It could be quite the bear pit unless Mother G's in a whimsical frame of mind, which she isn't. Armed with the juicy details you two have served up, I reckon I can destroy both your reputations in about 5 minutes.
Just you try.
I'm sorry. Please let her go. So here's my suggestion. You, pasty face, are going to give very dull, safe, dim-witted answers to anything the prince behind the curtain asks you, and do nothing to ruin my chances.
Oh, please stop.
And you, Miss Mouse, well, you can be your normal self. But just keep in mind how much pain you can expect if I come away from this process disappointed.
I said, let her go.
Cow! Tearing is holy hand cream. Jesus! Stop! Come on now, break it down! Seriously, if any of you loses a nail, or tears a hair, or snaps a lash, we are literally 4.5 minutes for remedial action! Come on, ladies! Think of your public image! Oh, fine! Right, you look fine somehow.
Good. I am going to finish this and then pee.
How do I look?
Adequate. Gee! And you need some extra primping. Wait here.
Don't think your little show of solidarity changes anything. One way or another, I will beat you. Both of you.
Oh no, you won't.
Oh yes, I will.
Oh no, you won't.
Oh yes, I will.
Oh, no, you won't.
Oh, eat shit, you pathetic losers.
Thank you for defending me.
She wouldn't have attacked you in the first place if you hadn't been trying to defend me.
I do wish there were a few more handsome princes to go around.
Well, I was thinking,
Yes.
if one of us was to win the day, maybe we could agree to share him?
Sorry.
Well, you could be the princess, and I could be your maid. I could try and get the hack of that thing with the vanity table on the days when you wanted some of those times.
I mean, as in,
In the travelling circus, do you know what they do when they want the lady bear and the man bear to make a baby bear?
no, what do they do?
They put them in the same cage.
You're quite the revelation.
And on the days when the prince was out adventuring, well, we'd be alone together. And that might be quite nice. Are you okay? You're shaking. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel like I've finally woken up. For real this time.
Oh, I'm glad.
Oh, but she's right. She knows too much about us. And she has too much ammunition.
Then we'll team up.
But if it got ruskets, I just think that you're too sweet-natured to throw anything back. And, well, to match her, I'd just have to join in and gang up on you. And I'd never do that.
We'll get through it. Then we'll see what's what.
Right, we're at T-2. You look... Actually, you are positively glowing. Go on through. Take the middle seat. They are spaced quite far apart, but leave them as you find them, please.
Okay.
You look very pale.
How many more times? It's my natural colour.
I don't know, you decide. Here, talk to this.
As long as it doesn't start talking back. I know you haven't been on the staff here long.
Oh, what makes you say that?
No one who's smart enough to find other work would put up with this nonsense long term. And I know you've been following her around.
Have I?
If you're looking for a wedding ring, you're out of luck. She keeps it somewhere private.
I'm not a thief.
Well, you're not a frog either.
Kiss my arse, maybe I'll turn into a prince. God, how does anybody put up with wearing these things? Ah, that's better.
Oh, so the tea story was just a disguise?
Yep, the face is fine. Let's hope the hair catches up someday.
Hansel, they did a proper job on your locks, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. If she fought her own battle, she'd have a better chance of recognising me.
Sounds like she fights a fair few of her battles. But why did you start persecuting her?
I enjoyed working for the old king and queen. I didn't mind scrubbing floors or courtyards or even bed pans. Then he brought her home. She was horrible to all the staff, but hated me worst of all. Jealous of my hair, see? Terrorised me any chance she got. When father died, I set out on my long campaign of vengeance.
Well, if you'd had a brisker campaign of vengeance, you might have left me with a shot of winning this contest. As it is, I think she's going to blow the both of us away.
If you sit too close, she might.
Sorry.
See, if she took fewer than 5 sugars in her coffee, she might have noticed the massive payload of laxative I spooned into it. In 20 minutes, just as our handsome prince is probing his contestants with the second question, her insides are going to burst open with the explosive force of a neutron bomb. Shit! Yes, indeed.
But how can you be so confident on the timing?
I have a knack for timing. Plus, I tried it out on a test subject.
You poisoned a stranger, you mean?
That's the last time she'll go helping herself to my porridge.
Why laxatives?
She's so pristine on the outside. Just this once, I wanted people to see what she's like on the inside. And tonight, they will. Go on, it's T-0. Get out there. I won't take anything that's not mine. Except this.
What do you want that for?
Next job on my retribution list. I need to see a girl with a wolf.
Somebody help me! I need air! I can't present night entertainments under these conditions! Nadia, for the love of heaven, don't just stand there, go and fetch a mop and bucket! The show is cancelled!
Whoops. Looks like my big showstopper went off a bit early.
Oh, it's been a while since anyone's had to apologise to me for that.
Oh well, all the best. Frog to parts. The end.